Welcome to the 50/50 podcast, where we have coasters now.
And stickers.
Yeah. So, today we're going to be discussing what is politics, what all these definitions mean, from liberal to Democrat to Republican to conservative. What do they all mean? Today we hope to clarify just a little bit more so we have a better understanding of what the heck are politics. So the first question is, what is politics? Like, what is this thing that we call politics? So politics is the art or science in government, and basically how can we get to the most efficient conclusion for the people, in which way, shape, or form, in the government's role in that.
For starters, we'll just cover the basics about the political parties. We are mainly a bipartisan government, which means we have two main political parties, and this is where you'll hear terms such as right, left, Republican, Democrat, or even conservative and liberal. So what do these all mean?
Alright, so first off, there's political parties and there's political ideologies. Now, political ideologies are a little more specific. That's kind of what you believe specifically, such as pro-gun, pro-choice, pro-life, etc., etc. You've heard them all. And political philosophy is kind of the more basic right and left-leaning ideas that we hear about.
When the terms right and left are used, it is usually to describe the general role of government that they view for issues. People on the right want more state and local governments. They want less of a federal control, where people on the left, on the other hand, like to use more of a federal government for most issues, and they prefer less state and local governments to be involved. This is shown with pro-life and pro-choice. Pro-life, they are more right-leaning because they want it to be dependent on the state for what the laws should be, where people who are pro-choice want it to be federally protected for every woman to have their rights.
Now, while right and left are more broad and they're more talking about the spectrum and the role of the central government and its involvement in different issues and different situations, a more detailed and more specific label is conservative and liberal. Liberal being more on the left side, while conservative tends to be more on the right. So what is conservatism? So conservatism, as quoted by Merriam-Webster, a political philosophy based on tradition and social stability, stressing established institutions and preferring gradual development to abrupt change. So this meaning that typically the Conservative Party relies more on the reasoning why things are established the way they are, and are more wanting a gradual change in the continuity rather than a quick, abrupt change to the government, and believes strongly in individual responsibility, especially when it comes to economics.
Conservatives can still be willing to make changes, though. Nothing is actually ever set in stone. They believe that there should be low taxes. They want a strong national government. They want limited involvement with the government when it comes to businesses. And they also want strong individual responsibility when it comes to things like healthcare and their own retirement savings.
Now, again, a conservative is not restricted to these by any means. You can still be very flexible as a conservative. These are just the general ideas that tend to be more on the conservative party.
Liberals, on the other hand, are a different story. In American politics, the word liberal has turned more into social liberal. This has changed a lot from the classical liberal definition that we used to believe in.
So what does this mean? So in American politics, a social liberal typically believes that it's the role of the central government to protect the individual economically and socially. They believe more that the central government needs to be able to level out the playing field and make it more equal for those to get out of poverty, to get into the middle class, and to kind of watch the upper class and make sure they're not too high. So some specific beliefs under the social liberal philosophy are central government intervention when it comes to things such as Medicare, which is just healthcare for those who don't quite know, retirement fund, retirement benefits, Social Security, in other words. And the central government also needs to become involved in individual liberties such as race, ethnicity, gender. All those need to be protected through central government involvement rather than state government.
Both ideologies want a mixed economy, which means it is a free market economy with some government intervention. It is just where is the balance drawn for how much intervention there is. This is very similar with the social issues. They want to fix the same social issues. It's just what way do they want to go about it? But there are many, many, many different ideologies out there, and these are just the two main ones that are in American politics.
Right, there are many more. We're just stressing the two mainstream ones that seem to be in America right now at this point in 2019. Politics are always evolving and politics are always changing. We understand that. But again, we're just focusing on the two mainstream ideas. So, this is where Republican and Democrat come into play.
These are the two main parties that kind of group together the left and the right.
So your political ideologies are the left and right, conservative and liberal ideas, but Republican and Democrat are the more broad terms used to kind of bring in all ideas from the right and all ideas for the left when you go into office and you actually go into politics. So stress that again. Republican and Democrat are not as specific as conservative and liberal. They just group together all the ideas from the left and the right together to kind of get the same somewhat ideology together in kind of like a broad sense.
I know it's a little messy, especially when mainstream media and politicians are even mixing this up, making it all seem like they're the same thing.
But hey, that's what we're here for.
Now the biggest thing that comes along with these labels is the baggage that is carried along with it.
Just because you're conservative doesn't mean you have to believe in all conservative ideas. Same with if you're a liberal or Democrat or any on the left, doesn't mean you have to believe everything that's on the left side of the spectrum. You can agree with things that are on the right if you're on the left, and you can agree with things that are on the left if you're on the right. Just because you are more right on some issues doesn't mean you can't be left on other issues. And this is kind of the big problem that comes into politics these days.
The biggest takeaway is that you are you. You're your own mix of ideas. You're your own individual. No one else decides what you believe. You are your own unique person, and remember to always keep that with you.
Yeah, you can believe whatever you want to believe. You don't have to feel like you have to stick to one side of the spectrum. You can believe all over the place. And that's the biggest thing we want you guys to take away from all of this, is don't be afraid to dabble a little bit on the other side of the spectrum. It's okay to experiment with ideas. Think all over the place.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. So thank you for tuning in.
If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe and turn the notification bell on.
And I guess we'll see you guys next time. Stay tuned.
Peace.